What's way more painful than most people think? Spine injuries and back pain from it are no joke. I have 8 herniated discs. When one of those strikes a nerve, literally, it will bring you to your knees. Yup. People look at me like I'm nuts when I fall over or to my knees. I'm mid-20s. I have DDD, degenerative disc disease, and a plethora of other fun problems. Long story short, anywhere I should have cartilage I don't have it. Or nearly enough. I can deal with my joints giving out and falling over etc. etc. Some days opening the car door is hard cause of my elbow. But the days where my disc pushes against my nerve? Holy fuck. I'm generally a happy dude. Those days, I am not. Breaking a rib. People see it all of the time on TV and think I can survive that. Plot twist, you can't move for a while and when you do it hurts more than you can imagine. I have experienced many broken bones and am in fact healing from one as I type this. If given a choice I would choose anything but another broken rib. Or dislocated rib. Who even knew they could do that? But I have dislocated ribs from my sternum and the 2 was 8 weeks of don't cough, don't laugh, don't lie down, don't get up, for God's sake don't sneeze. Have injured my ribs too many times. This may sound weird, but being punched, especially in the nose. In movies, people will get punched really hard and just shake it off, but getting punched, even by someone weaker than you, can seriously hurt. Infected tooth is literally the only pain I've had that put me down and made me cry and scream. I've broken bones, crashed cars at 100+ mph, punched steel doors, rolled my car, almost tore my rotator cuff to needing surgery, and almost broke my tailbone playing soccer. Nothing compares to the pain of an infected tooth. Absolutely nothing. I'd take cluster headaches over that. I'd rather lose a finger or take the pain of not being able to use my arm again over that. Fuck both arms even. Point is, take care of your fucking teeth. When I was 19, I was in a car accident. A lifted F-250, big truck, hit RS-10, little truck, in my side at 65 mph. The frame buckled, which broke the seatbelt, and I went through the window. I bounced off the hood of his truck and rolled down an embankment. I broke basically every bone on the right side of my body, needed physical therapy for years, got a medical discharge from the Naval Academy, had 3 surgeries on my shoulder and 2 for plastic surgery to remove glass from my face. After 6 months my deflated punctured lung was back up to 80% capacity. I get my jackets tailored to have the right arm shorter than the left because of a bone graft. I would do it all over again to never have another kidney stone. Sciatica. I don't get it anymore, but dear God when I did, for a couple of years from herniated disc, it was agonizing. Pain with no purpose, just a squeezed nerve, and painkillers don't touch it. When I was 27 my left ovary exploded in the middle of sex. One moment things are going fine and the next time screaming at my, then, boyfriend, get off. Get off. Get off me. Poor guy. I wound up lying naked on the bathroom floor in the fetal position doing labor breathing exercises to try to will my way through the pain for about 2 hours until the immediate pain subsided. That was on Saturday. Still didn't feel right the next day and went to the ER and was misdiagnosed with possible appendicitis and sent home. Went to my GP the next day and they referred me to a gynecologist. The gyno referred me to get an ultrasound who then finally diagnosed me with a ruptured ovarian cyst the size of a grapefruit. So that was 3 gynecological exams I endured in 3 days. The one in the ER had med student come in for a gander while I was in the stirrups, before getting any answers. I was getting ready to sell tickets to my cooter. And to top it all off, this happened about a month after my 29-year-old brother had died of testicular cancer, so I was of course convinced I had some form of cancer as well and was currently dying. My mother, who accompanied me to every doctor visit, was of course terrified of losing her only remaining child as well. In the end I was told there was nothing to do about the ruptured cyst but let the massive pool of blood sitting in my abdomen reabsorb at its own pace and that I might still feel the after effects for months, which of course sucked. But the relief of knowing it wasn't cancer almost made the pain worth it. It was about 6 months before the aching and cramping left and I could sit and stand fully upright. 0-10. Do not recommend. Finger injuries. They seem so small and inconsequential compared to other types of injuries and pain, but I once managed to shut, and lock, my finger in a car door and discovered a whole new meaning for pain. I'd always wondered why animals thrash themselves into greater injury when caught in a trap, and boy did I find out. There was no capacity for thought, only blind panic and me flailing wildly like a fish on a line. I've had serious injuries before and since, had major abdominal surgery with a lengthy recovery time, developed repetitive motion injuries, etc., but nothing compares to that, even though it makes me feel like a weenie to say. Ear infections. It hurts to move your jaw at all and feels all stuffed up, but you can't blow it like your nose. Stuff constantly coming out of it. Hurts, and the only thing that helps even a little is having a hot compress on it, but the second you take it off it gets worse again. Not fun. Not pooping. Constipation is no joke. I once went about a month without pooping and it was the worst time of my life. It took multiple enemas to get everything going again. Even just a couple days of not farting can hurt like hell. I got constipated when flying across the US once and it was literal hell. Huge stomach pains, shitting blood, puking from pain. Eventually I was able to go 2 days after we arrived on our trip. You could feel a no in my abdomen where it was lodged. I imagine the blood came from it drying up. Absolutely awful. Getting tear-gassed. Like it's not a joke. We had a drill in the army to test if our gas masks worked right and mine didn't. Endometriosis. Doctor thought my flare-up was a possible appendicitis and I didn't know I was pregnant. Trying to pee on sticks in agony is caught fun. Everything between throat and kneecaps was bringing me pain. You can't stand, sit or lie, you just writhe. Stage 4 endometriosis here. I don't know how to describe it to others because most people see me as able-bodied. Apparently I've got a higher threshold of pain with everything over the years. I'd trade anything to wake up one morning without pain. I've never known anything else, not even after surgery. I'm a trans guy and this has been my #1 favorite part of starting testosterone. It decreased the frequency of my pain significantly. I was in agony from age 12 onward. When I was 19 it caused them to take my appendix out. These days I still get pain in certain situations, but the daily pain is now closer to a 3 or 4, and so long as I stay up to date on my hormones, I only get above a 6 every few days. IBS anal fissures hemorrhoids. People joke about something burn more in the out than on the at-in. But it can truly be horrific. On the ground crying fetal position kinda pain. Having an incarnated toenail. It happens when you cut a toenail too short or with a pointy end. That pointy bit gets into your flesh and as the nail grows it rips through the toe's flesh. When you walk it feels like you are getting continuously stabbed in the toe. When you stub your foot or get your toe stepped at, the pain is unbearable. The worst part of it is that it can only be cured by surgery or by letting your nail rip all the way through your flesh and skin. If you combine it with your nails growing slowly it can become several months of slow torture. Flying when you're having sinus problems. It's agonizing. I had to catch a plane once when I was just getting over a cold, and there was the cutest girl sitting across the aisle from me. We're vibing, feeling each other out, and I tell myself that if we ended up at the same train station I'd ask her if she wanted to grab a drink sometime if she was in the city. Yeah, that lasted until we started descending, at which point I, who had never learned how to do the ear-popping thing, suddenly felt like my head was about to explode. I spent the last 15 minutes of the flight rocking backwards and forwards and pressing the sides of my head just because it was the only thing that seemed to mitigate any of the pressure inside my skull. The girl went from maybe possibly checking me out to please get this lunatic away from me as fast as possible. Clam jam by my own sinuses, man. Panic attacks. I don't know what it is like for others, But for me, the pain from my body tensing up during a panic attack can last for days after the panic attack, which ends up triggering me into another panic attack. There are times it feels like a never-ending cycle. Edit. Thank you all for the replies. The panic attacks haven't been as bad lately, but I am relieved to know that I am not the only one who struggles with this. I've had panic attacks for as long as I can remember, and they're bad enough to trigger asthma attacks for me. Absolutely terrifying, lungs on fire, can't breathe type of feeling. My dad hadn't ever experienced a panic attack before last summer when he was very stressed about his job, and when he had his first panic attack he thought it was a heart attack from the pain in his chest. We had to call an ambulance. Can totally relate. I'll be doing nothing, even enjoying myself, and it'll suddenly come out of nowhere. Rapid heartbeat, impending feeling of dying, shortness of breath, my body goes all tingly for a span of it, and my thoughts go wild so that it becomes impossible to think calmly and bring myself down. People will say, "You're not even doing or worried about anything, why are you having a panic attack?" But it doesn't work like that. They can happen anytime and anywhere for seemingly no reason at all. Period cramps are no joke. I know girls that regularly throw up from pain each month due to cramps. It's pretty much expected. I myself have passed out multiple times, even after painkillers. And I know guys are like, bet it doesn't hurt as much as getting kicked in the balls, but you're not getting kicked in the balls repeatedly for days on end every month from 12 to 45 years old. Given you don't have kids, then you have the pain of childbirth, which is incomprehensible. Losing someone close to you. Worst part is that the initial grief may be very painful, but it's the lingering pain that stays afterward that hurts the most. Every time you do something that they would have been a part of, you experienced that feeling of emptiness without them. OCD, it's not just the urge to have things clean and in order, but also obsessive thoughts that can become so pushy it ruins your daily life. Intrusive and obsessive thoughts that can give you lots of anxiety. I got hospitalized because my OCD wouldn't let me live a normal life anymore, and the thoughts I had were very bad. They became too much. I considered taking my own life until I was finally given the right medication, and now it has become way better since I'm out of the hospital. But the urge to constantly do things you don't actually want to do but your brain tells you to do it over and over again is probably the most painful feeling I've ever had. It's like my mind wasn't its own anymore. Of course, OCD is a mental disorder and all mental disorders are painful, but most people don't know how OCD actually feels like. Most people use it as a synonym for wanting to keep things in order, or when they're annoyed that something isn't clean enough. Order and cleanliness is the least thing my OCD made me think about. I feel like many people underestimated how it consumed my life until I threatened to take my own life because I couldn't take it anymore. Every mental illness can make you want to die. And OCD is psychological horror to anyone who has it. Depression, since many people today think that it's cool and stuff so they fake it. Also, many people think it's mostly just because you have a negative mindset, and if you think in another way it would get better, but usually depression is often related to social relationships, for example bullying. Even if you would change your mindset, if something social ruins your day again, your mindset will be back to bad. Please, like this video and comment your thoughts. If you like this channel, please, subscribe for more Reddit content you can listen on a go.